In October 1962, the world held its breath. It wasn't a sprawling battlefield or a prolonged war, but 13 terrifying days that pushed humanity to the brink of nuclear annihilation. Two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, stared each other down across a sliver of ocean, all because of an island nation barely 90 miles off the coast of Florida. This is the story of how a secret Soviet deployment of nuclear missiles turned the Cold War into the hottest crisis ever recorded. This is the story of the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Cold War build-up. To understand the crisis, we must first rewind. By 1962, the Cold War was a tense standoff. The US had placed Jupiter missiles in Turkey, right on the Soviet border, a direct threat to Moscow. For Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev, this was a dangerous imbalance. When Fidel Castro, the leader of communist Cuba, desperately sought protection after the failed US-backed Bay of Pigs invasion, Khrushchev saw his opportunity. Operation Nadir was launched, a top-secret plan to place medium and intermediate-range nuclear missiles in Cuba. His objective was simple: counter the US threat in Turkey and protect his new ally. The discovery, on October 14th, the secret ended. A U-2 spy plane, flying over Cuba, returned with photographic evidence that chilled Washington to the bone. Undeniable images of missile launch sites under construction. The missiles were capable of hitting almost any major city in the continental United States. President John F. Kennedy immediately convened his top advisors, forming the Executive Committee of the National Security Council, or EXCOM. The options were terrifying. 1. A full-scale invasion of Cuba. 2. An immediate airstrike to eliminate the sites. Both carried a near-certain risk of Soviet retaliation and World War III. The Kennedy decision. Quarantine Kennedy rejected the aggressive military options. Instead, on the evening of October 22nd, he went on national television to announce not a blockade, which is an act of war, but a quarantine, a naval ring around Cuba to stop any further offensive weapons from reaching the island. The world watched as Soviet vessels, presumably carrying more missile components, sailed toward the US naval line. The fate of the world literally rested on whether these ships would stop or attempt to break the quarantine. This was the moment of maximum danger. The secret diplomacy as the naval standoff intensified, the true crisis played out in secret letters and back-channel communications. Khrushchev sent two messages. The first, emotional and rambling, offered to remove the missiles if Kennedy promised not to invade Cuba. The second, more formal and harder, added a new demand. The US must remove its Jupiter missiles from Turkey. The US faced a dilemma: accept the first, ignore the second, or risk a nuclear exchange. Robert Kennedy, the president's brother and key advisor, proposed a brilliant, risky solution: publicly accept the first offer and secretly agree to the second. Resolution and the aftermath. On October 28th, the world breathed a collective sigh of relief. Moscow announced it would remove the offensive weapons from Cuba. The secret deal was honored. The US publicly promised not to invade Cuba, and a few months later, quietly removed the obsolete Jupiter missiles from Turkey. The Cuban Missile Crisis was a terrifying realization that brinkmanship could lead to oblivion. It directly led to the establishment of the Moscow-Washington Hotline, a direct communication link designed to prevent future miscalculations. The Cuban Missile Crisis remains the closest the world has ever come to global conflict. It taught both superpowers the necessity of restraint, transforming the Cold War from a reckless showdown into a more cautious competition. What do you think was the most critical decision made during those 13 days? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most pivotal moments.